Welcome to Stock Knowledge and News with Arieous Invest, your trusted source for updates, earnings reports, and actionable insights to sharpen your stock market game. Join us as we explore market trends, decode the latest news, and empower your financial journey with expert stock knowledge. This is Trading Reimagined. Let's get started.
Okay, so we're going to dive into some pretty big news today.
Sounds good.
President Trump just dropped this bombshell. A 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports. And this could be a real game changer.
Yeah, definitely.
We could be looking at trade wars, the EU retaliating, maybe even higher prices for, well, everything.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to unpack all this and figure out what it all means for you.
Right.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. This is a really big deal. I mean, think about it. Every single piece of steel and aluminum coming into the U.S. now has this 25% tariff slapped on it. It's a huge move.
Yeah, for sure. The scale of this is kind of mind-blowing. And the EU is already making noises about countermeasures. What could those actually look like? Like in real life, what would they do?
Well, just imagine, right? They could decide to hit back with tariffs of their own, but not just on any old products. They could target, I don't know, like iconic American stuff.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, say, Harley-Davidson motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
Or Kentucky bourbon.
Right.
Stuff that's really, like, tied to American identity. And of course, these are big exports to the EU, so suddenly you have American businesses feeling the pinch, maybe even job losses in those sectors. It could get messy.
Yeah, definitely. And what about here at home? Could this mean we'll be paying more for, like, everyday things?
It's pretty likely, yeah. I mean, you got to think, steel and aluminum, they're in almost everything. The cars we drive, the appliances we use, even the cans our soda comes in. These tariffs, they're going to add costs for businesses using those materials. And, you know, it's almost a sure thing that those costs, they'll get passed down to us, to consumers.
Right.
Like, just as one example, think about the auto industry. A lot of the steel used in American cars is actually imported.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So if you slap a 25% tariff on that imported steel, you're very likely going to see the sticker price of a new car go up, maybe even enough to, you know, price some buyers out of the market entirely.
Wow, okay. So we've got potential trade wars, rising prices. What about the financial markets? What are they saying about all of this? How are they reacting?
Well, markets, you know, they love predictability. They hate surprises. And this announcement, it's a big surprise. It's like throwing a wrench into the whole global trade system. So we could see some pretty big reactions.
Like what?
Well, first off, stock markets, they might become more volatile. Investors, you know, they get jittery when things are uncertain. They're going to be trying to figure out what this all means. And then there's the U.S. dollar. Its value could fluctuate, especially compared to the currencies of countries that, you know, might get caught up in these trade disputes. And all this uncertainty, it can even trickle down to things like interest rates. It could make borrowing money more expensive.
Yeah, this is starting to sound kind of complicated.
It is, it is.
So, like, what are the main takeaways here? The really important things to remember?
I think the big picture is this. These tariffs, they're a sign of a really big shift in U.S. trade policy, like a fundamental change. And the consequences could be huge. We're talking about everything from how countries interact with each other in trade to the actual prices we pay for stuff. And then there's a whole global economy. It's just a lot of uncertainty now, a lot of unknowns.
Definitely a lot to think about.
You know, one thing that I think is really key here is to remember the president's stated reasons for these tariffs. He's saying that protecting American steel and aluminum industries is, like, crucial for national security. But whether these tariffs will actually do that and whether, you know, the potential downsides outweigh any benefits, those are questions people are still debating.
Yeah, it's interesting. Right? It makes me think of other times in history when governments have used tariffs for different reasons. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't always work out the way they plan. Sometimes there are unintended consequences.
Oh, absolutely. Economics, global trade, they're incredibly complex systems. Like, you pull one lever over here and who knows what's going to happen over there.
Ah, that's a great point.
It's really hard to predict.
Well, this has been really insightful, really interesting. You've given us a lot to think about, a lot to keep an eye on.
Yeah, no doubt. And as we all watch this unfold, you know, one thing I think is really worth considering is this. What if these tariffs, what if they really do escalate, like into a full-blown trade war? What would that mean for the alliances we have now, for the balance of economic power in the world? big questions.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely something to keep in mind. As always, stay curious, stay informed. And we'll see you on our next deep dive.
See you then. Bye.
Arieous Invest. Trading reimagined.